So you've heard the term never give up. Well, if what you've been doing isn't working, I would say give it up. And you've heard the term try again. Yeah, well, if what you're doing isn't working, I would say stop trying that. And you've heard the phrase just try harder. Well, if what you're doing isn't working and you're trying harder at what's not working, then that means you're going to make the bad problem worse. Maybe try something different. Just a thought.
You can multitask cognitively. He cannot. So if you bring up problem one, and then 30 minutes into the conversation, which is way too long, you're now on problem 5 or 6, you lost him way back there at the 5-minute mark. And so you're just wasting your time and energy and oxygen at that point because he's not getting it. He might sit there and look like he's getting it. So it would be best to tackle one issue at a time. If a second issue comes up, just maybe catch it and go, okay, well, really, that's probably a slightly different issue. I'll broach that later. A lot of the NTYs run into the trap of thinking that no, this is not a separate topic. It ties into that one. No, I don't want anything that ties into that one. You have no problem seeing the big picture. He has a big problem seeing the big picture, and you will go on to a second point, and you think it's the same point. No. It's not to him. He does not think globally like that. He does not have the ability to generalize and see the big picture. So you have to stay very tight on that one topic. And it can't be 1A, 1B, and 1C. That won't work. You can do that, and you do it well. That's one of your strengths. Instead of you spending a lot of time and energy trying to fix his ass, you need to be spending a lot more time and energy taking care of you. Because if you continue to hold on to the pipe dream that someday he's going to come up here, you're going to live a long, or maybe a short, discouraging, depressing, some of you are already there with depression, life. Your mental health is going to go down the toilet. Your health, if it hasn't already, is going to go down the toilet. You have got to make that paradigm shift. You cannot afford another year to go by without you making the paradigm shift from someday he'll get it to he's never going to get it to the degree that I want him to get it. And I'm just going to have to make peace with some of this stuff and adjust on my end until you make that shift. And that's a hard shift to make. You will be the one to suffer. Not so much him, because he can always go to his special interest for anxiety reduction and depression alleviation. He does his little meltdown or shutdown, he's gone. He's over there playing his games or whatever. He's taking care of his mental health, and you're stuck holding him back. That's why you have got to start taking care of you. I'm not saying don't work on helping the marriage, or I use fix it loosely. I'm not saying stop the business entirely of trying to fix the things that are going wrong. We have to do that. But you need to be spending more time taking care of you. Make up a number just so you'll know. Instead of you spending 90% of your time worrying about him, you need to spend a good 60% of the time worrying about you. And save that other 40 for worrying about him just to make up some easy math.
Hey guys, this is Mark, and I got a message for the neurodiverse couples out there. Have you noticed that the more you, by the way, this is both for the NT wife and the ASD husband. This is a two-way street here. Have you noticed that the more you try to control your spouse, the more control you lose? In other words, the more you try to control the other person, the more they become uncontrollable. Your skills at controlling suck. You get a big, fat, freaking F- on your ability to control. It's not even a neutral thing. You not only don't achieve controlling, you get the opposite effect, where now they become resistant. So, what's the moral to this little video here? I got another challenge for you, a 7-day challenge. It's the 7-day no control challenge. We'll call it that. What do I mean by that is when you're tempted to do anything that remotely smells like control. And you have a good idea of what that is. Just keep your mouth shut and let's see what happens for a 7-day trial. So comment under this video in 7 days from now, because those of you who are going to take the 7-day no control challenge, I want to hear and see what happened and if you think it improved the situation at all. I'm not saying to ignore safety concerns. You know, if there's something and it's a safety issue, you may have to control that. But for the smaller issues, you know, the other 98% of things that go on, whenever you go in, try to control, you get the opposite effect, which is more resistance. And that's not where it ends. Now, more resentment builds, more trust is broken, and you're just digging yourself deeper in the rabbit hole. So, shoot for no control for 7 days. Comment under this video, please, for those of you who are going to take the challenge, which most of you won't, because you think that you're accomplishing something by controlling. You're still in denial that your efforts to control stink and yield the opposite effect. Those of you who are going to try this thing, comment under the video 7 days from now, and I will be super interested in hearing about it, and I will be glad to comment about your comment if you have any questions about what to do instead. Okay? Right now, I don't want you to do anything instead. Some of you might be thinking, okay, well, you don't want me to control. What am I supposed to do? Nothing. Nothing. Sometimes it's not so much what you do, it's what you stop doing that helps. The more you try to control the other person, the more unhappiness you bring into your life. Think about examples from your own experience. As you have tried to control your spouse, did that bring happiness? I'm guessing it brought the opposite, some form of misery. And to make matters worse, the more you try to control the other person, the less control you get. Because nobody likes to be controlled, and they will resist and purposely become uncooperative to save face, to protect their ego, and in some cases, they resist purely for spite. When you try to control your spouse, you're engaging in one of the most unloving things that you can do, because the hidden message there is, you're not good enough for me. You need to change for me. You're not meeting my expectations, therefore you're being inappropriate, disrespectful, selfish, uncaring, insensitive, narcissistic, and other labels such as that. To control your spouse lets him know in no uncertain terms that he's not measuring up. This damages self-esteem and makes trying not worth the effort. Now, I'm not saying that your spouse has no room for improvement, and I'm not saying there's no behavioral changes that need to happen, but that's none of your business. Your business is about love, compassion, gratitude, extending grace and mercy where needed. But when you cross the line over to, I need to work hard at controlling you, your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior, now you're in your spouse's business, not yours. You're responsible for your happiness, not your spouse. If your attitude is, my spouse has to say certain things, or my self-esteem suffers, or my spouse has to perform in certain ways, or I feel disrespected, or my spouse has to avoid saying or doing certain things, or I slip into a depression. If those are your thoughts, you've put your power in somebody else's hands where it does not belong. Your spouse cannot make you spit, can't make you stand on your head, can't make you mad, glad, sad, can't make you anything you don't want to be. That's your job. Controlling your spouse is not your job and will bring more unhappiness, guaranteed.